Hi guys, hi and welcome to the Storyteller Talk Show by Mansi. I am Mansi and today I'm going to talk to someone who's a very young author. His name is Antar Atreya. So Antar Atreya, as you might have read about him, is a very young mythological author. His book, The Chronicles of Mortal Vishnu, Chronicles of the Mortal Vishnu is sure to be a blockbuster, guys, because it's a graphic and an imaginative novel, and it's not only set in the Indian mythology, but it also holds a lot of science, a lot of different facts, imagination, and a lot of visual appeal in the story. So today I'm not at my home; I'm at a CCD in my hometown Bhopal because it's Saturday and I had to get out and do something. So I'm sitting here with my cafe. Hi guys, and I am waiting for Antar to join us. In the meanwhile, let me just send him an invite. I don't see him live right now. Okay, here it goes. So joins. Hello, Shivanshu. So my best friend has finally joined my live stream now. Hi, Antar. How are you?
Hi, Mansi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Just great, just great. Thanks to you, I was able to get out of my home today and go for a cup of coffee. So,
Great,
how
great.
have you
Even
been
I'm
doing?
having a cup of tea. I'm more of a
Great.
tea
Show me
person.
yours. Show me yours. Great. That's great,
So
Antar.
I'm more of a tea
Really
person,
have
maybe
good
because
to see you.
I belong to Assam, and maybe that is why I'm a tea addict. And since I've been home for the past couple of weeks or
Yeah.
so, I've been sitting around
Okay.
at maybe 7 to 8 cups of tea a day, and that really keeps me going, keeps me moving. Otherwise, I feel so lethargic and let down by my own self. Tea is a
Okay.
savior for me.
Right. Because I have also grown up in Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal. So the breakfast, the typical breakfast over here is tea and poha with jalebis. That's the most interesting part about the breakfast here. And yeah, I mean, everyone is a tea addict, but I'm the only person who can have equal amounts of tea and coffee in the day, I think. So great to have you
So,
here, Antar.
sorry.
Great to have you here. I hope you can hear me properly.
Yes, it should be a great conversation because I haven't got many chances to watch many of your live sessions, but the previous one which you probably had with I guess I just forgot the name, but that an author from Harper Collins, the author of
Yes,
the
Kiran
Taboo.
Mandral.
Right, with her. That was really, I watched it in some bits and all, and it was so fun. It was interactive, and it was overall a very nice session. And
Thank you.
so I'm really looking forward to this. And also I guess you outside, maybe you are CCD and the vibe and all. That's really colorful and joyful. So
Yeah.
I'm just
I just wanted to get out of my house today. It's Saturday, and this is the only place I can come to because of the curfew. So I thought that why not be here? And the people here are very good enough. They allowed me to have this session here, so really thankful to them as well.
okay. So
Right.
they are
So
the really
until
benefactors for tonight.
yeah, yeah, definitely they're the saviors. So, Antar, I mean, so many people have joined today. I'm really amazed, and looking at the popularity that you have with people is crazy. You have written such a beautiful book, a mythology with a lot of imagination, and you are only 24 years old. This is what I read from all the other articles. This is what I read from an article from the week and Gurgaon Lit Fest. So they have really praised your work and put it up as a short blockbuster. So my first question to you today is, first of all, you're such a young author, and in a genre like mythology, what what is your experience of that? Did someone tell you that you're too young to write it, or probably you're not fit for mythology at such a young age? Because there are people who have this mindset that mythology is meant for the older writers, or probably someone more experienced. What do you have to say about that, first of all?
Well, thankfully, so far I have so far never received that kind of a comment that might make me feel that I have done something that is just generally people do, do at a very, elder age.
Yeah.
But yeah, there have been a few people who were really surprised, and they would tell me that, when we read this book, and we really imagined the author to be someone like, at least 35, 45 plus kind of a
Yeah.
person. So that is the, you can say the kind of this sort of comment that I have got. But nobody has,
Mhm.
tried so far questioning me that why, being a young author, you ventured into this and stuff like that. So that has never happened. And if you really ask me why I wrote mythology, why I wrote this book,
Yeah.
it's largely because because I never wanted to write mythology or for that per se. I did not want to turn into a full-time author. I always
Okay.
I did my graduation in economics from Ramjas College, University of Delhi. I wanted to pursue a career in banking, and then probably
Oh.
just like Chetan Bhagat or an Amish Tripathi, I would have
Yeah.
got some capital and then invested that and promoted myself and then come up as a writer because the writer
Mhm.
in me that was always there because my parents they are both poets and writers like they used to write for each other. They had a very pretty and very inspiring inspiring relationship, a very
Yeah.
successful one as well, seeing that it's an intercaste, inter-community sort of a marriage that was way back 27 years back till now. So they used to write for each other. When
Mhm.
I was a kid, I used to, read out those poems. My father used to read to me those poems, the poems that he used to, write for my mother. So the writing was always in my blood, but the thing that I went on to write a mythology that happened because of certain things and certain consequences, and I always
Okay.
tell it it's sort of a butterfly effect. So if I can be more elaborate about that, I would like to be.
Mhm.
So what happened was that back in 2016 when I just completed my graduation, I was in a dilemma of sorts because I wanted to do something of my own, something entrepreneurial. Because during my 12 years, I did a lot of internships, and
Okay.
maybe also because that was a time when this hit show, the TVS pictures came out, and then there was The Wolf of Wall Street. So as a young guy, I was inspired a lot by it. And anyway, I'm always very much inspired by fiction. So
Yeah.
that was always there. वो जो जो कहते हैं ना कीड़ा entrepreneurial कीड़ा, that was always there. I wanted to do something of my own, but at the
Uh,
same time, I had a couple of job offers in my hand, and uh, while I was in this dilemma, just then, there were certain other issues that I faced, personal
mhm.
losses, and thereafter my father fell terribly ill, and I went through certain, interpersonal issues, and
Mhm.
I developed a chronic liver disease, which
Okay.
obviously after 6 years it got, totally cured by God's grace, but all those kind of things push me into depression. Maybe if you have read about me, you might have known about this, or maybe you do not. But I was diagnosed with clinical depression. I was on medication for
Okay.
9 months, and after things were moving on a better end, but even then the recovery was at a very slow pace. So
Mhm.
my mother suggested that
Yeah.
I should try yoga. That might help me out a bit. And when I tried yoga, I suddenly developed an interest towards the ancient school of thoughts of Hinduism. And that is where, I got fascinated by the bit of mythology or the ancient teachings of Hinduism, to be more precise. Uh, Back then, I read the Mahabharata, I read the Bhagavad Gita, and that is where I became more insightful about life. I was a very temperamental kind of a guy. I used to, I often used to say in my, earlier lectures and all that I was like, the poor people's Kabir kind of a person. Sorry, yeah, Kabir Singh, right? Yeah, poor
Okay.
people's Kabir Singh kind of a person, very, enraged and very, spontaneous. I was always angry, and I was that kind of a person. And then,
Mhm.
reading the Mahabharata, reading the Gita, I understood, it's very important in life to be calm.
Yeah.
Everything else will come and go. All that you can do is to be calm and
Mhm.
prepare yourself to face anything. And when I had that insight, when I learned that, I decided that I should write something about that. And at that very time, I also decided that, since it has been my dream always to be into a writer, why not try it out professionally?
Mhm.
And I always have this belief that, you should never sail, on two boats. I mean, even if the path is untrodden, even if the path ahead is difficult, you should focus on one thing, because what I believe, at least for myself, is that whenever you have a backup option, there is something psychologically that says you that even if this thing
Yeah.
fails, or even if you do not succeed here, there is a plan B. So I never, even as a student, I never kept a plan B. So even here I decided, no, I do not need a plan B, and thereafter I started writing this book. And mostly because there were three reasons. Firstly, I wanted to write it as a tribute to Hinduism, because I learned so many things, so I wanted to give in something return. Obviously, Hinduism does not need anything from me, but still I wanted to give a tribute. Second,
Yeah.
I realized that there are many misconceptions developing around Hinduism, and
Yeah.
various ideologies, principles of Hinduism have gone back to this. So I thought that through this book I could bring forth certain perception, or put forward certain true essence of Hinduism. And thirdly, I came to know that mythology mixed with fantasy and backed with science and rationality, that's going to really penetrate into the heart of people. It was
Yeah.
already done before, tried and tested by a mixture, and thereafter people like authors like maybe Anand Condenser or Kavita Kane, they all
Yeah.
were already into this genre, and this genre was
Yeah.
successful. This genre was accepted by people, and I
Yeah.
decided that I should go for it. So
So
those three were
I
the basic
personally am
reasons.
a very big fan of Anand sir, as well as Anish sir. Of course, we have Devdutt sir also coming. I listen to them, I enjoy their talks, and I think Anand was the one who introduced me to mythology after Devdutt sir. So I started reading those novels, and that's why I told you I'm not very much well read in mythology, but I've read a little bit about it and really enjoyed it. So I mean, it's a big thing if they personally, have met you and approve of your story writing. I think that's something really of an achievement.
Thank you.
So, for people who don't know about Anand sir, he has also written the series of Bahubali. I think everyone knows about it. So, Antar, I think he has been praised by all of these authors, and it's really an achievement. So, Antar, really
Yes,
amazing.
one of those memories of the first book journey so far with this. I shared
Yeah.
space with Anand sir. They were in Gurgaon Lit Fest. He won the title for best fiction book overall, and I
Yeah.
won in the
Hmm.
category of mythology. And we
Hmm.
shared the stage. That was like a dream come true.
I saw
Especially
that picture here.
and especially the fact that that he has worked for Bahubali. That really
Yeah.
because I'm probably one of the biggest Bahubali fans. One of the reasons is this that when Bahubali 2 was about to release, before that this book Rise of Shivagami came in, and that we had
Yeah.
they had a launch in Inox Nehru Place in Delhi. And there,
Hmm.
then I went there. I interacted with Rana Daggubati. I interacted with Rajamouli sir, and I asked him a question that the way action scenes, especially battles and wars, are depicted in movies, it's really difficult to portray on a book. And like
Yeah.
I just asked him that it's really I mean from a writer's perspective, if you have any sort of suggestion, what would that be? Then he was like he took the mic, and Rajamouli sir was like this that you really think it is really easy to portray a battle on the screen. That's really more difficult. And then I felt for a moment I felt stupid, but then again that was one of my my life best memories to interact with such a person. As great as he is, as
Yeah.
humble as he is. And personally, I met him, after the event, and
Yeah.
he gave me a interview, and that really worked wonders. So
Yeah.
Bahubali is always, a huge part of my life, and that is why sharing space with Anand and Condenser, that was like one of the best, moments of my life so far.
Hmm. I can completely agree with that. I think Bahubali is something that has popularized the whole Indian mythology scenario. When Bahubali books came out, people were really excited about it, and Rajamouli himself had asked Anand sir to write it. So he told me in one of his talks in Lit Fest, I was there. It was, I think, 1 or 2 years back, but wow, it was such a feeling. And I personally loved his book Vanara also. But coming back to your book, I want to put up a second question to you. So, what we see usually in mythology is an imaginative description of a whole different landscape and a whole different set of characters. But I see that Indian writers like Amish, Anand, you also, you have also taken up science and some facts. So it is not just superstitions or something that the story is based upon. It is actually facts and science that you have mixed in. And there's real emotion over there. It's not like you have written about a god with, emotions of someone that we cannot, what to say, relate with. It is very much relatable because it's mortal Vishnu. So, how did it happen, and how did you mix up all of these things and bring upon such a beautiful canvas to us?
Well, first of all, these were really kind words, to hear my name alongside, Amish sir, and so and now coming back to your question, I would say, I was a person as a viewer or as a consumer, I was never into fantasy, until and unless when in 2015 I watched one of the many Marvel movies, and once I watched the entire the Marvel series and the Marvel movies, then I came to know
Yeah.
that there the difference between the superhero movies or the fantasy movies is that the reason that I hated them because did not like them, that was because probably they missed on making it more convincing. But Marvel did that, and they did it with rationality. Maybe
Yeah.
not all many theories. In this sort of genres, when you write something, when you put up a theory, that theory can be wrong or can be right, but at least there should be at least a 50% probability of that theory being right. So that is what I worked upon. Like we all know that the world, that the universe, started after the Big Bang theory. But we also know that there had to be something before the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
And now I just went into a thought process that what could have happened before the Big Bang, or if we
Yeah.
relate certain mythological things from Hinduism, like the Hiranya Garbha, where we say that uh, Lord Brahma, came out of the navel of Lord Vishnu. So how he came out and what were the concepts of that? Those sort of things. I did not go on a research-based purpose, but rather I went on an imaginative-based purpose, and I tried to ask myself that what could have been the many one of the many theories that could have led to a Big Bang explosion. So those kind of theories, when I asked those questions to myself, I found certain answers, and when I found more convincing ones, I tried to extend them down. So that is how I started the first part of it. And secondly, I always, uh, was since 2016, I have been a great mythological fan. So the show Mahabharata was came out in 2013 on Star Plus. I rewatched it on now, and I have to say again, I was a big addict of that show. And even then, I found one simple thing that one question that was unanswered. And that question was this, that whenever we talk about Vidyastra or the divine weapons, we
Right.
often see that a warrior, a Maharathi or a Ti Maharathi or a Apurathi will certain mantra and then release the arrow, and the arrow would have some sort of power in it. But the
Yeah.
rationality behind that could not have been shown on television. There are many constraints for that as well. I do understand that. So I
Yeah.
thought that what could be a probable theory for this. Then I thought, that a certain mantra or a certain, certain set of words spoken at a very, specific decibel level and spoken in a very specific manner could discharge, sound waves, and those sound waves could amalgamate with certain elements and matter from anywhere in the universe, and that could, conjure some weapon. So that was a basic theory
Okay.
that I, evolved and developed a bit, and then used it as a, as the basis of the power of conjuring or the process of conjuring a divyastra or a divine weapon. So things like
Okay.
that, I started doing, and uh, that really worked out. And I always, as a reader, as a consumer of anything that comes on screen, I always have a problem personally when there are certain questions unanswered. Maybe there can be a great movie or a great book, but even if it has a couple of questions that have been left unanswered, that really does not help me out. It really disturbs me personally. So I
Yeah.
feel that that's what had happened with my book, and that is why I try to think a lot from the reader's perspective, and maybe that helps me.
Definitely. I think because these are the texts which are, Mahabharata, Ramayana, so many other epics that we have of our own. These are the basis of all the things that we call mythology. So every country has its own, and India has a plethora of it. We have a treasure chest of it. So things coming out of it, when you're trying to make sense scientifically, it becomes really interesting because when you go back and see so many things that Indians did in the ancient times or probably in the medieval times as well, you find out that there's some kind of a scientific base over there. And there was this Ram Setu that was discovered, I think, between Sri Lanka and India. People never used to believe that something was possible, but we did find it. And you don't know how much of ancient knowledge we have lost in the world. I think this is where we can find it again. So if I just go a little bit further and go to Nostradamus, his predictions are still coming true every decade. And that's the kind of ancient knowledge that we have missed out, I think, and something that we can find in mythology back again. So definitely a great, go with that. How did you kind of come up with this story is something that I wonder because I understand you've been reading a lot of epics and Hindi mythology, Hindu mythology books, and you have been watching so many things. You have been trying to find out so much about it. But how did this story occur to you, and how did you write this book?
Well, that was one very particular night when probably I was with a friend of mine and we were a bit of having some sort of good time, and then even he was into writing again, and then we were discussing mythology, we were discussing about Hinduism, and then he told me that he had this certain concept in his mind from which he wanted to write a book. And then, he told me his story and told me to, sort of complete it. And then,
Okay.
I gave him something, in, personal insights or, I added something, deducted something. And then he got a plot. And as soon as he got a plot, I realized that this is an awesome plot. And I decided, that even, I should think something for my own. And
Mhm.
on that night, I decided, I just went sort of in a trance, and I decided, I tried a lot to think of a plot, and I don't
Okay.
know how, but this plot came into my mind. And
Okay.
at the risk of sounding highly narcissist, I would say that maybe it's a gift. I can develop plots really with an ease. Like I don't know how good a writer I am, but as a plot maker, curator of a plot, maybe I'm really great at it because
I have one
it
more
just
theory.
uh,
Universe gifts you the stories, I believe, because the writers, when they sit and really write something, you don't know from where it is coming. How can you really think that much? Whether it's another wonder of science or it's simply something that we do not understand. So some authors believe that it's their talents are there. Of course, you're a talented person, but there's some kind of a gift that comes specifically to you and you tell that story.
I
So
do
I think we are going too much into the myth side, but this is just a belief that I feel, is there. I think many of the authors that I speak to also tell me about this. So amazing that you got this particular story in your head and you wrote it.
To be, really, I should let you know this and all the viewers especially. Before, writing this mythological book or before, pre 2016, before
Yeah.
developing depression and everything, I was an atheist. I never believed in God.
Okay.
The primary reason for this was because my father is a Brahmin, so I was born and brought up with those traditional Brahminical ideologies, and uh, at some point I believed, or I felt that way years back, Brahmins were exploitative everybody, and I sort of
Yeah.
at the same time there were so many rigidities, especially even now if I talk about my the village from where my father grew up, where I have all my relatives and all. If I go there,
Yeah.
even now today, there are so many orthodox, customs. There are such rigidity in there. So
Yeah.
for all those reasons, I sort of, did not have any faith towards God. I did not have any faith towards religion. But when I understood what religion actually is, only thereafter, I started believing in God. Thereafter, I started believing in all sort of principles. And, I found the essence of it. But before that, I was deeply into, thrillers. And specifically, I was into psychological thrillers. You won't believe, you won't believe that.
No, I can believe. I can believe. That's me also because I was always into. Sorry, I think I cut you in between.
No, 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 I was telling you, that I first said that maybe you won't believe, then I retracted and said that you'll believe because you have interacted a lot with authors, so obviously you're going to believe it. Back in 2000, your stream. Am I
Yeah,
audible to you?
yeah, yeah,
All
you're
right.
audible. I'm answering some people. Actually, while we talk, I'm also answering a few people. So don't worry.
All
I can listen.
right.
Yeah.
So I was telling you this that I was when I passed out my 12th, like after giving the boards of 12th standard, I
Uh-huh.
was so much into psychological thrillers that I researched on almost every psychological ailment that was possible. There is a
Wow.
psychological disorder called Cotard delusion, in which a person believes that he or she is dead, and therefore he or she will stop eating, stop breathing, and even insist on being buried or burned
Oh my
because
God.
he believes that he is dead. So those kind of things, I was so much into psychological thrillers, and I wrote a lot of plots, and in every plot, I found some sort of anomaly in it, some
Hmm.
sort of thing that happened in the plot. And I remember between 2013, mid to 2013 end, I wrote around 72 plots, all
Oh
in the
God.
genre of psychological thrillers, and I tore
Uh-huh.
each of them apart because none of them, really seemed to, get me totally going. So I never thought that, having that sort of an interest towards into psychological thrillers to turning to, writing a mythological, fantasy novel, that was a
Yeah.
journey in itself. So, that is why I told in the beginning, it sort of happened in a butterfly effect kind of a way. Maybe it was just
Okay.
meant to happen, and that is why, I totally second with what you said, that, maybe it was meant to be, and maybe it was gifted, or maybe it was, maybe because maybe I desired that a lot. Maybe I
Yeah.
manifested that in my subconscious
Yes.
mind as a kid. So there may be
Completely.
many reasons, but everything pushed me towards this journey, and I'm so far really grateful that it has shaped up really well so far.
Yeah, that's amazing because being such a young writer, I can understand. You have experimented a lot, you have given a lot to the story, and psychological thriller and mythology. Once again, if I come to that point, right? Some places I feel they kind of intersect. I don't know why, because I love thriller and horror, and there comes a time where these things go back to mysticism and mysteries and things like that. Why did it actually happen? So especially horror, if you look at that. So I believe there is a kind of cross connection over there sometimes. But I think it will be great for a joint talk to have Neil sir or probably Hari with us for horror and you for mythology someday. In that case, I think it's going to be a great talk. But my next question to you here is when you think about so many things, I mean, it's so difficult to kind of, streamline it. You have a story, you have everything with you. But how did you streamline this particular thing? What was your writing journey like for this novel?
So
Because there's so
specifically
many
only
thoughts
the
in your
writing
head,
part, or
and yeah. Sorry?
specifically only the writing part, or do you want to know even about the publishing part as well?
No, 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 not the publishing part, just your creative process. Because
Okay.
you have so many things in your mind. You wrote 72 plots of psychological thriller, but then you streamlined this one mythology story that you got in your head. So, how easy or difficult was it for you, and how did you achieve it?
See, when this plot came into my mind, the plot for Chronicles of the Immortal Vishnu,
Mm-hmm.
that happened, without any plan. When I had this plot, then I decided, that maybe I
Yeah.
can, traverse into this path, turn into a full-time author. And once I,
Okay.
thought that the writing, I always see this, the writing process, the process of
Yeah.
writing a book, it's a beautiful love story between me and
Uh-huh.
and my laptop. So
Wow,
there's
that's the first time I'm listening to this because most of the people say that this is the hardest part to be done
no, I
sometimes.
really maybe because before I start writing, I think of the entire plot. I'm a very I have OCD. So when I have OCD, I need to
Okay.
have everything in a near perfect way. So before I start writing, I have to have the entire plot in my mind, not in my mind actually, the entire plot on on a diary. And this thing
Right.
I cannot do on a laptop. When I'm preparing a plot, that has to happen on a diary, handwritten with a black ink
Mm-hmm.
pen, and with
Okay.
proper headlines, proper highlighters and all. I frame the entire plot. I frame it scene by
Okay.
scene, and thereafter I start writing. So everything is already in my mind. And when I'm writing, what
Yeah.
I do is often that whenever uh, for example, if I'm writing a romantic scene today, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine that which two actors, maybe from Hollywood or Bollywood, would shoot this, scene perfectly. And then I would imagine them. I close my eyes and imagine the entire scene, and then thereafter, I
Oh.
start writing. Because for me, it's of paramount importance that whatever you have written should be visually attractive and visually powerful
Mm-hmm.
for your reader. So that's
Got it.
probably that what has also turned into an USP of my this debut novel. But for me, being visually attractive with words, it's very important. So that is what I try to do, and that is why maybe the writing process is not a very difficult one. I would say the editing part is a difficult and tedious process, and a
Mm-hmm.
more difficult process is when you're sitting with your editor and you're trimming down your manuscript.
Oh
That's a
God,
painfully,
that hurts.
painfully, what to say, it's a painful paradox, I would say. You need to
Yeah.
trim it down because there are many reasons. From marketing to pricing to the size of the book,
Mm-hmm.
everything comes into consideration. But it's like I'm certain you'd also get that trimming down
Yeah,
something that you have
I completely understand.
that's really painful, but you need to do it. So that's the most difficult thing
Yeah.
that any author and personally me, I
Yeah.
felt so that I had to go through. But the writing was a brilliant process. When right now working on my second book, I'm writing, and it's like
Okay.
everything is set, all my themes are there in my mind. I open the
Uh-huh.
diary and I'm writing. And it's a beautiful love story between me and whatever I'm writing. And maybe
Got
that's
it.
that's what inspires me to keep moving on in this journey to write more stories. And I
Mm-hmm.
really think that whatever I'm writing, whatever I'm creating, that would stay on behind even after I'm gone. So those kind of thoughts are always in my mind, so I never find this process tedious. It's inspiring for me, and it's really motivating for me.
Right. So I have a question for you from the audience. Roshan ke alfaz. Okay, so Roshan is asking, does your surrounding affect you when you're writing? And how?
See, for the
That's mine.
first book, it did. To be in the when I was writing my first book, there were odd times when I certain, I wrote it. I took almost 2 years to complete my first book.
Mm-hmm.
Half of it I wrote when I was in Delhi, half of it I wrote when I was at my home in Assam. And when I was in
Okay.
Assam, I used to visit certain river banks, certain mythologically important places, or certain historically important places, and
Mm-hmm.
be there right there, or at least click some pictures of those places, come home, look at those pictures, get inspired, and write. But when I'm working on the second book, and especially when you turn into a full-time author, it's
Okay.
like a job. It no longer remains your passion. So it's just like a 9 to 5 job. The
You've
only
got to keep
liberty you have
going.
is that you can write from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that's the liberty that you get. But at the end of the day, you need to keep on writing every day. And you cannot complain to
Mm-hmm.
yourself that no, today I'm having a writer's block. No, today the ambience is not suitable for writing. So those kind of things
Mm-hmm.
cannot happen. If that happens, then writing will, I believe, maybe I may be wrong, but I believe in that scenario, writing will always, be a passion. It won't, translate into a profession. So since
Right.
I wanted to do this professionally, I want to continue doing this. So now wherever I can, I try to write. Maybe I'm going in a car somewhere, I take out my laptop, and if I have something to write,
Mm-hmm.
I have to write because that's my job. Nobody is
Right.
looking at me. I know that there is not a, I do not have a deadline as of now, but once you are 2, 3 books old, you have a deadline. When you're working on 2, 3 projects simultaneously, if you have a literary agent and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and if you really, sign multiple deals with various publishing houses, in that case, it's often true that, you need to really follow deadlines.
Yeah.
So that has not happened so far with me, but still, I'm sort of preparing myself for that because otherwise it's going to be difficult for me only when, in the longer
Yeah.
run.
So
That is,
better
I guess,
separate your emotions from your routine. Don't let them interfere with each other. So this is something that I read in one of the current read that I'm having. I will definitely post a review about that because whatever you're saying right now, it matches completely with the suggestions that this book gives. But coming back to your point, I think it's very difficult for most of us to not be affected by surroundings, especially when we are in the pandemic situation stuck at home. But taking from your, I think, example, we all would like to do that with any hobby and any art that we have.
so maybe that was because I already endured the phase of depression. I already
Yeah.
endured all those. So I learned how to fight it off. And even right now, I won't say I won't mislead. There has
Mm-hmm.
been during this time during this lockdown. Why did I come home? Because I was stuck in Delhi for the past 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
I did not go out at
Oh my
all.
God,
And then one day,
that's too
I
difficult.
realized that that's taking a toll on my life, toll on my life, and that is why I came to my home. But
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and that is also because probably I read the Bhagavad Gita. That is why people should always be solution centric. And even I'm not 100% solution centric. Even now, when there are odd problems that pops up, I lose my
Mm-hmm.
all kind of things that I'm talking about. I tend to forget it momentarily. But at the end of the day, a person that any one single quality that really makes a person have a calm and ease kind of a life is to be solution centric, and I'm trying to develop that quality or whatever you call
Right.
it. I'm trying to develop it in me to be a more solution centric approach
Mm-hmm.
kind of a person. So I guess
Right.
if anybody who can embrace this can do
Okay.
really well in anything that they do.
Great, Antar. So now I have one last question for you. Actually, there are two questions here. You told me about all of your personal struggles as well as the lessons that you have learned throughout your journey. So, what about any message that you want to give to people who might be having depression but they don't understand it's depression? How do you, know that you need to talk to someone? That's something that I would like to know from you. And the second thing I want to know from you is your future works, and if you can tell us a little about it.
Okay. So the answering your first question, I'd say, if you really want to know that if you are really going through a phase of depression or a long-term, panic striking phase or
Hmm.
through various anxious moments and anything of that sort, you feel restless. You cannot concentrate on a particular thing. Even the best of the things that you like, maybe a sitcom that used to make you laugh a lot won't make you
Hmm.
laugh at all.
Okay.
Maybe you love cooking and now I'm not telling it to
Hmm.
you because people don't get me wrong, that she is a girl, so I have brought up this cooking topic.
Yeah.
For generally, if there's somebody who really loves cooking and he or she does not enjoy it any longer, maybe someone who loves reading a book and
Yeah.
it's no longer there, that spark is not there, that there's something wrong
Yeah.
with you, and there's a lot of negative feelings in your life. When you
Hmm.
start up, when you start your day, when you wake up from your bed,
Hmm.
you start having negative thoughts more than positive ones, and that means that that there is something, that there is something not right with maybe the surrounding that you are and somehow with,
Yeah.
or maybe with your, and then you should straight away it's always advisable to go and take a professional help instead of sharing with your friends and all. It's
Yeah.
important to do that. I never discourage that, but a, a, a professional person is going to help you in a lot better way than a friend or a relative or even your parents can help you. But but if you have such people around you, like I had, my parents, they were essentially, maybe
Hmm.
because of because of their jobs or maybe whatsoever, they knew they were aware about depression. My friends and all, people that I
Yeah.
was surrounded with, everyone knew about it, and therefore, I could share my feelings with them. And but at the same time, I also knew that that should not be the end of it. I needed
Hmm.
to seek help. And it's not
Understood.
like that you go straight away you go to a psychiatrist. First, you'll go to a
Hmm.
psychologist, and if that is not what, you will refer to a psychiatrist. So there's nothing to fear about it. It's a very, talking kind of process, a therapeutic, experience. Like just like now, how I and Mansi have a
Yeah.
conversation. It's similar of that kind. You can pour out your heart, and it's at some time you really tend to develop a very good relation with your psychologist, and maybe they become your best of your friends for a lifetime. So that even that happens. So it's a very common kind of a problem in today's world. Maybe even in the past it was a common problem that people did not realize it, but now it's the kind of life that we live, the romantic or the kind of competitive life that we live. Very common, and for any healthy, even for any healthy person, it's really
Yeah.
important that he or she evaluate his or her mental status after every 6 months.
Yeah.
There's certain exercises like if you just try, if you're feeling anxious, and you can try this small bit of exercise, just in your mind, or just whispering, just call out the
Yeah.
numbers from 1 to 50 or 1 to 100. And if you can do that without any break or without any sighs
Mm-hmm.
and heavy breathing, you know that there's nothing much to worry. But if you cannot do that, you can realize that there is something wrong, and
Oh,
you need to do some sort of help. So that is so there are
yeah.
many small basic kind of exercises that can help you realize that. But at the end of the day, the thing is that when you have such sort of a doubt, the best thing is do not delay going for a
Mm-hmm.
professional. And for the second part of the question, for my current and future work, currently I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on my second book, which is also mythological,
Okay.
fantasy. And this time it's not a fresh story; it's a reimagination of a war
Mm-hmm.
between two Hindu gods, Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva, and
Okay.
that's on a backdrop of a very, the backdrop is a romantic story, and this entire
Okay.
war, known as Harihar Youth, that took place in Assam, in Tezpur, the place where
Okay.
I'm sitting right now, my
Yeah.
hometown, Tezpur. So I wanted to bring out the story to the world. So that's what I'm working on. And apart from
Okay.
that, I'm working on certain screenplays for certain, local ads and,
Yeah.
local ventures and stuff like that. And I'm also trying to pitch up certain screen projects
Mm-hmm.
that's in a very, fledgling stage as of now. So these are the kind of things that I'm doing, and
Okay.
keeping myself busy, and I hope things will go as I have planned.
Yeah. So, Antar, one of the very interesting factors from what you just said right now is that you're bringing mythology and stories from Assam, that is Eastern India, which is something I think we have not seen before. We have seen mythology from West, South. We have not seen it from Central also, come to think about it. That's from where I am. And we've not seen it from East, we've seen it from North. I think it's very interesting that you will be bringing something very different for all of us to read. So mythology, there's a lot of mythology in Assam. There are so many different types of rituals, fairs and dances and gods and deities over there. So I'm really excited to see what you're going to bring up.
Absolutely, I would send you an advance review copy for this thing.
Ah,
You
that would be great. Signed by you.
Absolutely. I learned this. This is a tip for anybody who is a budding author, or who is thinking that in a couple of years I'm going to write. An author signed copy is always going to sell without a discount. So that's really
Oh.
I never knew that. I always used to think that most of my copies were unsigned when they were sent to
Yeah.
the distribution channel. Because I
That's
always
indeed
felt
a
that I
very good tip, Antar. You have given a very good tip right now, and everyone who is here, they are privy of it now. It's an
yeah.
inside
So
information.
yeah, it's an inside information, and I was bewildered with it. I really
Yeah.
never considered it a debut author. Nobody knew me back then when I started writing. So I was like, who would be interested in an autograph, copy of my book? But then when I realized that I lost many readers because I did not sign my books, and thereafter in the next editions
Oh,
I started signing them. So it's really important that
oh,
you do that.
great. Oh, great. It's kind of like a customized thing. It's privilege,
Absolutely,
I think, when readers get it signed. So, Anand
absolutely.
sir, I don't know if he might remember. I have been very pesky with him to sign the copies whenever I got them in the lit press or anywhere he was. I would ask him, please sign it for me and for my dad. So,
No, no,
I
no.
think one of the times he did get irritated as well.
Okay.
But
So
well, I'm
today,
not
what
sure.
what
Yeah,
people are really interested into customized things. So as you
yeah,
said, this thing which customizes, it's like your own coffee.
yeah.
Even 10 years down the line, when you look at the coffee,
Mhm.
when you look at the, so you're going to feel maybe special, or maybe you feel more connected with the author.
Yeah,
So maybe those are one of the some of the various reasons why
really.
successful. So
I would agree
that's
with
amazing.
that because every signed book that I have is a precious collection for me. So completely agreed with that, Antar. And now we are running out of time. The only question that I had was there before. Roshan has another question for you, which is going to be the last one. So he's asking, can you release, like after writing something, can you release your sadness or depression? What is your view on that?
Sorry, come again, please.
So basically, what Roshan asked about surroundings affecting your writing. After our talk, he has asked, after writing something, do you feel you release your negative feelings? Do you get that satisfaction?
See, when by the time I started writing this book, I was out of that phase. So
Hmm.
I would say no to your question. No, I did not feel
Hmm.
anything of that. But yes, writing always helps. I mean, today if you are having a feeling that's eating you up from inside
Hmm.
and you note it down, uh,
Hmm.
it really helps. It is another exercise. Sometimes if you have hatred for somebody or a very negative, emotionally
Hmm.
charged negative thing inside you, and what you can
Yeah.
do, just wait after some completely, after you scroll completely, just write it down and just tear it away and throw it out. This is
Yeah.
usually this was used even in a similar kind of scene was there in Jabul Met, if you remember.
Judgment, yes.
So that those kind of small bits of exercises really work
Yeah.
wonders for, because the psychology is not that some kind of it's a very delicious but a very what can I say,
Yeah.
I'm not getting the exact word. It's a very
Yeah.
delicious, but it's not complicated. It's मतलब कुछ भी हम छोटा कुछ भी कर ले, small things really help the book.
For me, it's shopping. For me, it's shopping. Whenever I'm feeling really down or bad or sad or even angry or frustrated, I simply just take a cab. I go to a mall, and even if I don't buy anything, it makes me happy for some reason. So that's called
This
shopping
will be something
therapy.
I can relate to that, because few days ago I was not, in the best
Yeah.
of my moods, and I shopped a lot.
Yeah.
I did it offline, but I shopped a lot, so that really made me
Oh,
happy.
Amazon was a savior in this pandemic, I have to tell you. I got,
Absolutely.
I don't know, so many books, around 100 or 150 books I bought this year
Wow.
from Amazon. They're all in my box, but I'm so happy that I got them and I still keep on getting more. So that's kind of my shopper, kya bole yaar, I don't know, my frenzy of, going for shopping offline or online. So that was just a funny bit from my end, but just a little bit on the serious note. I think if you have any kind of, yeah, that's stress shopping, someone commented, that's right. So Harshili is also here. Harshili is also a writer. She's saying retail therapy. Yes, Harshili, that reminds me of Kay. She also does that. Antar, I feel that to Roshan's question, writing definitely will help him release for some time. But as you said, it is not the permanent solution. You should definitely look inside and reflect. Do you need
So
help or do
obviously,
you, yeah,
the discussion that we are having right now on depression, it's on a very, I won't call it shallow, but it's on a very,
yeah,
basic level. If you really have an issue, if
immediate,
you anybody is really having issue, it's always advisable to take professional, because that is what their
mm-hmm.
experts at. If
Right,
you're talking about writing, I would say about it. You talk about, interviews and podcasts, especially horror, to Mansi. She's an
yeah,
expert that. She is going to give you some really wonderful insights. And so similarly, if you want to talk more, in more details about depression and any other stuff like that, a professional psychologist is the person you should go to.
right. So Antar has given, I think, great advice to us on all the things that is storytelling, writing, and even personal life. Antar, thank you so much for being here today with me and talking about it. Really excited to look for your latest book as well as for your upcoming work between Krishna and Shiva, you said, right? That's going to be the story. I cannot wait because I've never seen all these gods together in. mythological sense in a way as such. I mean, Mahabharata and all is of course there, but when you look at the major literature that is coming out for mythology, it's basically centered around one god or one aspect of the epic. But getting two together and then putting up an imaginative canvas, it's going to be amazing. So I can't wait for that, and I hope it comes out soon.
I do hope that, I'm just waiting for, the pandemic to, the normalcy to return, and thereafter, I'm going to release it only thereafter. And I really hope, the same sort of love that, I got for the first book, people share and shower me with that same sort of love, and, I keep on working harder.
Yeah, and all the best for that, Antar. So,
Thank
guys,
you.
our talk is going to be available on IGTV if anyone has missed it from the start. And he's always available on Instagram for all your answers, for all your queries, and follow him to keep updated, keep yourself updated about the news and his latest work coming out. So, thank you, Antar, once again for joining us, and all of you
Thanks a lot.
guys.
Another thing that I'd like to, add as an ending note, and that is, it's great that, I really found out your, horror originals on Spotify, because, for the last couple of months, I have I have had this habit of, listening to horror stories before I sleep, and all of the
Okay.
stories, had almost ended, the good stories. And, that day I told you I tried one of your stories and really
Mm.
loved the way you did it. And to be really honest, I was not expecting it to be so wow, and it was
Oh
really
my
wow.
God, thank
And
you so much.
I'm going to, learn a lot from them, and I really wish you to continue it, and, just, do let it end, because, I don't have any other option as well, because there are not many good ones available on Spotify or on YouTube or anywhere. So, just keep on doing that, and, keep on doing
Definitely.
all the amazing things that you do. It is a sheer pleasure to, have this interaction with you, and I really hope that we can have some other discussion in the coming future soon as well.
Thank you so much, Antar. And tomorrow, I think you'll be able to listen to a new story. But for now, before we end this conversation, there's a question once again. I'm so sorry I'm keeping you here. But one of my friends is asking, why are the majority of Indian mythologies that we hear of are influenced by Ramayana and Mahabharata? So, to your answer, I have to say that Antar is someone who is bringing Eastern mythology very soon to us. And Antar can take this question a little bit if he wants.
Okay. So the main reason for this is, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata encompasses everything, many more
Hmm.
things. I mean, it's a very heavy kind of a book. If you really, if you really Google and, know about the number of pages or the number of verses or the number of words that Mahabharata has, you are going to be bewildered. I mean, that's huge. So everything is, sort of, engulfed in Mahabharata and Ramayana. That is the reason. But even beyond these two epics, there are stories from, like, about Lord Indra or Lord Agni. All those kind of stories, they are available. And, if you go on to read the Vedas and, maybe some other works like that, you're going to find more stories. But those are not that easily accessible, and even if, they're easily accessible or, found online, they are quite expensive. So those certain customers, those, because of getting customers, it's difficult. But more or less, Mahabharata and Ramayana engulfs almost everything that is, that you need to know about, mythology, and that you really
Yeah.
find interesting. Even after 100, 200 years, not all the stories, not all the episodes of Ramayana and Mahabharata will be good. It's that new, it's that good. That's the simple answer for that.
Yeah, and I think it's heavily marketed as well, I'll say. Because we have Sati, we have kind of so many other stories of Mata Saraswati and so many other deities, but usually we do not get those in form of books. Once again, Anand sir comes into picture because he wrote Vanara, which was about Bali and Bali and right his son, his brother. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so much forgetful about it, but it's one of the best stories. Tara, Bali, and his brother. So yeah, I mean anyone who wants to go for it, do go for it. And Antar definitely has something very different for us right now and coming soon. So Antar, once again, thank you for being on the show, coming on talk with me, and for sharing all those insights. And have a
It
great
was,
Sunday tomorrow.
totally clear. Thank you. Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye bye.